Hiya, welcome to my Compound Life. I'm your host, Jonathan. Good to see you again. Just want to drop a quick update. I think it's a very interesting update, and an update I think could be quite interesting for a lot of Bitcoin holders. Okay, so my Compound Life, it's a channel. This is where we build asset, build habits, and eventually build freedom. That's financial freedom. And hopefully you guys can get on the same journey with me to have financial freedom and more time for yourself, family, and do whatever you like and do something that you have passion on. For me, for now, it's setting up my YouTube channel to essentially bring you along my journey. So I'll be really grateful if you can drop a like, hit subscribe, become my 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th subscriber. Drop a comment, let me know who you are, the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and let's get started today. Okay, so here's a quick update, right? I think I've spoke about so much about, wait for some of the key signals to tell us potentially whether we can get out of a bear market and how soon, right? I spoke so much that, we have already finished our 4 years Bitcoin cycle and then we are entering a bear market now, right? But at the same time, there's always the questions, how soon can we get out, right? Because historically, it would take about a year plus longer before we get out. But certainly taking into consideration that this time around, potentially we might not even see a bear market because of the institution's adoption and for Bitcoin getting into traditional finance TradFi, right? So having said that, I also call out very few things that we need to look forward to because this might potentially hint that the bear market can cut short, or even bear market cut short, that we have a mini relief rally, right? So maybe bear market hasn't cut short, but whilst we're entering a bear market, we may actually have a relief rally or a dead cat bounce to look forward to, right? So that's why I've always been talking about looking out for a few things. Rate cut coming. Certainly, I think Jerome Powell indicated that. Whoa, that was fast. That driver drove so fast, right? Did you even hear that? That was a Porsche. But anyway, so Jerome Powell definitely has become dovish. Hinted that quantitative tightening ended. I think ended yesterday, right? 1st of December. We're waiting for a rate cut. Certainly in all of my video, I've mentioned that, we need to wait. We need to wait for the final confirmation. That essentially means money printing. With more money printing from the US Fed, essentially it's going to give more confidence, and then more of the liquidity will eventually flow back into riskier assets like the growth stocks as well as Bitcoin, right? So yesterday, right, after the stopping of quantitative tightening, the Fed injected approximately $13.5 billion through overnight repos, right? So that's the second largest spike since COVID, signaling hidden liquidity stress in the banking system that they need to immediately address, right? So exactly like the repo crisis in late 2019 that quietly preceded full quantitative easing, right? So, that eventually leads on to a lot more money printing, right? So history shows these repo spikes plus small bank funding pressure forced the Fed into easing QE months before the official pandemic, right? So you might think pandemic, because of COVID, it was the reason that leads on to all of this money printing, but it's actually not, right? The same pattern is reappearing now and could push meaningful liquidity support as early as Q1 2026. So essentially what that means is all of these banks are in crisis, right? So that's why Fed needs to step in and to print more money. And for this 13.5 billion, essentially for the last time, maybe I'll just take this one. Hiya, maybe can you squeeze that in?
Do you want me to put it through or do you take
Ah, that's fine. I'll take it.
I just need to take it.
Sure.
No, I just need to take it.
Oh, okay.
Is it right?
Yeah.
Just to the parcel.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, thank you.
So, where was I? Apology. So it wasn't actually the pandemic issue. It was actually all of the banking, especially small banks, issues that resulted in quantitative easing, right? So, and I think since a small money printed yesterday, right? Eventually, we do have the expectation that maybe QE will start, maybe not later in next year, but much more earlier next year, right? So maybe we could get something back, money printing start as soon as Q1 next year, right? So, and here's the thing, right? With the new, more market-friendly Fed chair coming mid-2026, so Jerome Powell, the current Fed chair in the US, will be out, right? So he'll be sacked soon, right? And a new Fed chair will be coming mid-2026. And with a political preference for easier policy, right? So continued repo stress will likely accelerate easing, quantitative easing. As a result, crypto risk assets tend to front run these liquidity shifts first. Okay, so of course, I do hope for this to be a short-term bear market. I can be wrong. If it's not a short-term bear market, there's a big truck outside. If this is a short-term bear market, or if this could be, or we could still be going into a bear market, not a short-term one, a long-term one, but have the expectation that this long-term bear market may have some dead cat bounce, right? Due to quantitative easing, right? So this is very positive, right? Especially knowing that yesterday, quantitative easing, right? A small amount of quantitative easing already started, okay? So essentially, we should see some better gains in a much more shorter period of time, because initially I was thinking, okay, maybe quantitative easing, the money printing's not gonna come in anytime soon, right? It's not gonna come in until the new Fed starts his role next year, mid of next year, right? So if this is true, that the current Fed are seeing so much holes in the current banking system, small banks banking system, that they need to come in to plug the holes, right? It's all very positive, right? Because essentially all of this is going to lead onto a small rally. Let's call it a relief rally. that could probably help us to get out from our position. Okay, I'm still long-term bullish for Bitcoin. However, I am bearish for my hodled Bitcoin bag that I'm trying to get out of to fund more of my lifestyle, my holidays and stuff like that, right? So take note of this, guys. I think it's positive news that there has been some QE. But what does it mean? What does it mean? Does it mean bear market will be shorter this time round, right? How, as an investor that I've been with Bitcoin, this is my third cycle, how I'm thinking, right, I'm gonna treat this news as a small excitement that potentially, there will be a rally that's coming, right? And by no means this signal is an indicator for me to go all in into buying Bitcoin, because somehow I still think we are in a very bearish situation for Bitcoin. It failed to clinch onto the 50 days moving average, right? So the next time we go down, will probably be the 200 days moving average, which essentially would be the similar pricing, as Bitcoin fair value at around 70,000-ish, right? So there's the potential that Bitcoin cannot hold current price and continue to drop to 70,000, right? So in that case, we are not too far from the historical bear market, which will be sometime next year. Usually the bottom of the bear market will be, I think, 500 days before the next halving event, right? So that will be sometime in November next year, right? So this is my take. I won't be going all in if I've already got a very strong position in Bitcoin, right? I wouldn't be going all in. So for my current situation, I wouldn't be going all in at all, right? Unless there's such a huge drop that Bitcoin gets back down to about 70,000. That's when, yes, I will, go all in. I'll try to find money. I'll try to get a loan from the bank, or remortgage some of my properties so that I can, get some money out and then go all in onto Bitcoin at 70K, right? But since we are at around 82,000 right now, not 82, 87,000 right now, I would think, would be sensible if you already have some Bitcoin and then you are trying to get out from your hodl bag, to wait and see, right? But knowing that this tiny little money printing, the quantitative easing, QE, whatever you like to call it, right? It's flashing. Essentially, it's giving us a good indication that potentially we might want to get out of our position as soon as Q1, right? Next year. As a result, make sure, I mean, for me, I'll probably continue my DCA out at around 95,000 when Bitcoin gets back to about 95,000, and I'll be more aggressive taking profit from Bitcoin, every time it hits another 5,000 mark, right? Just so that I can get out of my swing back earlier, right? Of course, my hodl bag remains, right? So this is why I always talk about have a hodl bag for Bitcoin, that you lock it away for the long term, and have a swing bag every now and then that you do some buy low, sell high, so that essentially you get to take some profit to fund your retirement lifestyle, right? But at the same time, for those, so it's a channel we talk about Bitcoin, but understand that there will be people that are frightened now because they might not hold as much Bitcoin, or they might not hold or majority of their bag are actually crypto or shitcoin bags, right? So this is where you need to be mindful. You may be given another opportunity to get out, because with influx of liquidity flowing into the system, I do anticipate altcoin to rally. And this time around, the altcoin rally can actually be faster, with more uplift than versus Bitcoin, right? So if that's the case, this is your final chance to get the hell out, right? Otherwise, you're gonna be holding your shitcoin bag for another 4 years. Seriously, it felt so bad. I wouldn't want to be in that situation at all. So treat this as a warning to every single one of you that are listening. Make sure you get out and you're not gonna be in it. Oh man, there's no spot. Maybe I'll just park here. Anyway. Sorry, it's just you looking at how dreadful of a driver I am, trying to park my car in a non-designated spot. I think I can park here. That car can still swing around from the corner. Anyway, that's it. What that I want to talk about. Just to let you guys know about the QE, the silent QE, the quiet QE that's happening right now. That lady's about to get out. Maybe I want to get her spot instead. Yeah, and it's such a great news. Hoping that this will spark some fuel, spark some life back into Bitcoin as well as crypto. To be honest, I don't really care about crypto anymore, because this definitely has been the worst Bitcoin cycle compared to the last few, right? I don't think anyone are making much money if they're in crypto, if they're in shitcoin, right? However, if you are in shitcoin and Bitcoin, I'm sure you made some money in Bitcoin. Definitely not as good of a money because of the diminishing return. if you've made some money in Bitcoin, good for you guys, right? Remember to take profit. Always take profit when we're heading up, right? You'll never be able to time the all-time high. You might as well just take profit when we're going higher. Even when we're going lower, and then you know that you need to take profit, like you know that within these few months you need to take profit and get out of your position, I strongly recommend you do so too, because obviously taking profit is so important. And if you miss taking profit, if you miss taking profit, you are given the second chance soon from the relief rally, right? So I'm not even gonna try and attempt to call this a short bear cycle, because I still fully believe in the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin. I would just deem this as, I believe in 4-year cycle for Bitcoin because after the halving event, right, there will be a supply shock that makes the price goes up, right? So that's why I still believe in it strongly. But knowing that we are at the end of the Bitcoin cycle, we are entering a bear market soon. This is the business cycle that's giving us another opportunity to take profit. Then, then the whole thing ends. Then we need to prep up for the next cycle, which starts, the accumulation period starts sometime November next year, right? So we're not that far, right? So if you have missed the great opportunity to buy on Bitcoin, of course you can enter now, DCA in, and take profit in the next cycle, right? That is, you need to be disciplined enough. Or you can slightly maximize on your profit by not buying in right now, be patient, and probably buy in the next in the bear phase of Bitcoin, which usually will be next year, Q4 onwards, right? So that's my advice. So if you like my content, please hit the like. Just hit the like. If you don't, even if you don't like the content, just hit the like, right? Just help me out. And hit subscribe, become my 12, 13, 14, 15 subscriber. Leave a comment and let me know who you are. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.